Hello everyone. Well, for today's video I'm going to be baking another cake, but this one is not going to be from scratch. I'm going to be doing it from a box. If you want to see how to do a cake from scratch, you can visit my other video and I'll put a link to it here and you can see me do it from scratch. But for this one, we're just going to use a box. The difference with this cake is it's going to be a rainbow cake, and I'm going to show you how to achieve a rainbow effect in the actual cake part itself. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we need to do is to put our dry ingredients into the bowl, and we're going to be making 2 boxes worth of cake. So here's the first one. And this is just a basic yellow cake mix that I bought. And then here's the second bag. Okay, so this time I'm going to use a wooden spoon to start out with instead of a whisk. That is a lesson I learned from the first time I did this. And since we're doubling this recipe, we're going to be putting in eggs, oil, and water. So let's put in the eggs first. So here we have 6 eggs. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, let's start mixing this together. Okay. The next thing we need is 2 cups of water, which I have here. And I'll just add this in a little bit at a time here. definitely yellow. I assume that's mostly from the eggs. Although there may be some food coloring added to the mixture as well. Scraping the bottom here, getting all the little bitty dry pieces that are still there. Okay, and the next thing we need is a cup of vegetable oil. So I have a bottle here. A brand new one, obviously. And let's measure out a cup. Okay, that is a cup of vegetable oil. Let's add this to the mixture. And that's the last of it. Okay. Put the lid back on that so it doesn't spill. Okay. Now I'm going to use a whisk here and see if I can get this beat down a little bit further. The last time I started out with a whisk, and I think that was a big mistake because it all globbed up into the side of it. But once it's thin like this, you should be able to whisk it pretty well. It definitely looks better now. Still just 1 or 2 lumps in here. This will help break them up. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Now, the next thing we want to do is divide this batter up into 6 different containers. And those containers we're going to add food coloring to. Okay, so here's the containers we're going to be putting the batter into. And I have a measuring cup here. And we're just going to try to divide this up fairly evenly between these containers. Probably about a cup in each one, maybe a little more. Basically just filling them all up to the same level. And it helps if you have bowls that are kind of all the same size. It helps you measure it out better. Okay. But unfortunately, I only have 5 of those bowls, so I need one more, which is going to be kind of the same size. Just a regular soup bowl that we have. It smells very sweet, that's for sure. Okay, now we have a little left over, so I'm going to go around and put just a little bit more in each one. And this is not a precise measurement type of thing. If there's one has a little bit more than the other, it's fine. Because in the end, you're not going to be able to. As long as they're kind of close, it should be good. Okay. Now I'm going to get a spatula, which I have in a drawer over here. 1 second. And this will help me get the last little bit of this out. So baking a cake from a box is definitely easier than from scratch, but I was surprised when I made the cake from scratch that it really wasn't all that much more difficult. You're basically just adding in all of your dry ingredients first together instead of pouring them out of a box. Okay. So we're going to add a little bit more to this one. And I think a little bit more to this one. And we'll just distribute these to what's left. Okay. Well, that concludes the first step to this. And so I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then I'll be back and we'll finish up with the food coloring. Okay? Okay, so we have our containers and we have some spoons here to mix the dough up with. And we have food coloring. And we'll start off with red. And this is kind of just a play it by ear, or by sight as the case may be. But you definitely do not want to be afraid of the food coloring. You'll be using a lot of it. And especially since this is kind of a yellow cake, it's already has a color to it. So sometimes you may want to overcome that color. But you could also, I guess, just get white cake, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time when I bought the cake mix. So this is not a healthy cake, so having lots of food coloring I don't think is going to be a problem. So add plenty of the food coloring and mix it up really well. You want to make sure you scrape the bottom and the sides. Make sure you don't have any leftover yellow cake batter left. I may come back and add some more to that later. But now let's move on. And let's do blue. I learned my lesson from the red. Just go ahead and add a whole bunch at the beginning. Now it's kind of a turquoise color. But we want blue, so we're going to keep going. And recently, in my first cake baking video, I've been getting a lot of comments about how long it's taking me to do these steps, which is understandable because I do everything deliberately and step by step. So I wanted to explain that a little bit. The videos I make are called ASMR videos, and you'll notice that in the label for this video it says ASMR. And basically what that means is people enjoy watching videos of people doing methodical steps, and it gives them a feeling that we call ASMR. And you can look it up on Wikipedia, and there's some other videos that people have made explaining what ASMR is. So I encourage you to look that up, and hopefully that'll help you realize why this is not a quick and shortened version of making a cake, but is a step-by-step, deliberate video. So now we're going to add yellow to this, even though it's already yellow. That'll just help us get a nice rich color. And on top of it being just ASMR, I also think that many times when you see a cooking show, they really edit down exactly how long it takes something to be made, especially if it's like a multi-step process or something complicated. And they try to edit it down and make it look like you can just walk into your kitchen and whip up a batch of, beef stew or cheesecake or whatever it is without any kind of preparation and stuff. And there's a ton of preparation that goes into making any kind of cooking video. And they also end up kind of cutting out some of the in-between steps, which I understand. I mean, it's not necessarily a criticism, but I think that it's nice to realize that cooking is a process that takes time, and I think it's a very enjoyable process. So here we have the yellow. Obviously that was a pretty easy color to make, so I don't have to worry about that. And then the next we're going to add is green. happy green. Green and yellow are the easiest colors to get, for obvious reasons. I must say there is something kind of fun about using food coloring with reckless abandon and just squirting it in there. I've made this cake 1 or 2 times for office birthday parties. We make each other cakes. And other various desserts. This is always a hit. It's a fun one. Okay, so there's green. Now we are going to get to purple. And purple is tricky. Purple takes a lot more color than you think it should. To get a good purple, so we need lots of blue. And some red, but not as much red as blue. We'll start out with that and see where we end up. Also gets very dark very fast. And the first time I made this, I really fretted about the color that was too dark. But in reality, there's not much you can do about it, because you're working with 2 dark colors mixed together. And when you bake the cake, it just kind of comes out as dark anyway. But you realize that it's purple from the other colors around it. And with the mixture of the yellow of the cake mix, it does kind of come out just grayish. This is not the funnest color, but it's mixed with all the other ones in the end, so it makes sense when it does that. Okay, and that's purple. Let's move on to a happier color. And that will be orange. So let's get some yellow. And some more red. And I'm always careful with the red because it's a very powerful color. It will quickly overwhelm everything else if you're not careful. That's neat. It looks beautiful. piece of the dried red food coloring in there. Okay, so here we have all of the different colors that we're going to use to make our cake. So that will be the next step. I'm going to start my oven preheating, and then we're going to put these in pans. Okay? Okay, so now our oven is preheated at 350 degrees. And I have all of the colors here ready to go. And what we're going to do is pour each one of these colors into the center of the pan. I'm going to pour about half of each container. So with this one, we're going to start with purple. And I need a rag here to wipe the edge off. Okay. And then we go with the next color, which is blue. And we start in the center again. And we pour like that. The next is green. We always start in the center. And that gives us nice little bands of color. Next is yellow. And of course, orange. And finally, red. I'm using a different cake pan than I did last time, so hopefully it will not stick. And I also put a lot more of the non-stick coating on it, the spray. Okay, so now for the next pan, you don't want to jiggle that around too much and mix the colors. We're going to start with red and work our way backwards suppose if you wanted to, you could really make sure that these came out exactly circular and everything like that. But I think that by the time you cut into it and icing it and everything, that no one's going to care about that too much. Probably could have made a little bit more of a deeper blue shade, but that's okay. Okay, so when you're done, you should have 2 cake pans full of nice, bright, happy colors. And we will just pop these in the oven, and then I will show you the results, okay? Okay, so these have baked for probably about 40 minutes, and just got them out of the oven and let them cool a little bit. And then I turned them out of the pan, and you can see that the purple color goes kind of a dark bleh color, but when you cut into it, it's fine. And especially these other colors, there's a little brown on top, so these aren't the true colors that you'll see when you cut into it. They did stick to the pan a little bit, and you can see here what it would look like inside when we cut it, with the red and the orange and the yellow down there, and then some of the green here at the bottom. And then here's the other pan a little bit. A nice bright blue and the green, and then a little bit of the purple right there. So that is how you bake these cakes. Obviously then we would stack them on top of each other and icing them, and I would do that for you, but I am an absolutely terrible person when it comes to icing. None of it turns out looking very appetizing or good, but this is at least the cake part, and I may attempt to icing these and then cut into them and maybe post a still picture of what the finished cake looks like. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that you've enjoyed watching me bake these cakes, and I hope you've enjoyed watching me go through the process step by step, and I hope that you have gotten some good ASMR tingles out of it, and if not, maybe you've learned how to make a new type of cake. So please subscribe to my channel. I have many more videos to make for you guys, and if you have any suggestions of something that you would like to see, please let me know. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks.